Hey, you're hanging out in the Link Up Lounge. I'm Tiffany Mason.
And I'm Donna Ruppel. Around here, we believe success isn't just about what you know, it's about who you link up with. This is your lounge for turning one link into endless opportunities.
Donna, it blows my mind that the two of us have over 30 years of combined networking experience.
I know! We've built businesses, expanded networks, and created unstoppable momentum, all through the power of strategic connections.
AKA networking. And now we're here to guide you to do the same, starting today.
So let's dive in, connect, and start making moves you didn't even know were possible. Welcome back to the Link Up Lounge. I'm Donna Ruppel, your Nocatee real estate expert, and I'm here with my co-host, Tiffany Mason of Virtually You, the boutique podcast management agency.
This is your lounge for turning one link into endless opportunities. And today we're talking about how to ask for help without feeling like you're using people. Whether you need advice, an introduction, feedback, or a referral, making that ask can make you feel so uncomfortable. But asking for support is a normal part of networking when it's done with clarity, respect, and consideration. I know I personally avoid asking for help because I don't want our relationship to start feeling transactional. I don't want it to feel like I owe you because you did this thing for me and now, I don't want it to be like that. The people that you're interacting with have probably experienced someone who only reaches out when they need something. And I just don't want to become that person.
Right.
And I know that if I offer help, I genuinely mean it. I genuinely want to help you through your hard time or be an ear to listen to or attend an event with you and be your wingman for your business. Or I really do want to support you in whatever networking event that you're putting on. And so I think it's important to understand that you offer generously. So if somebody offers to you generously or genuinely, I should say, they probably mean it and they don't expect anything in return. So I think if somebody's offering, it's okay to take advantage of that, but also be careful how much you're asking for something. I think in the last episode, we talked about asking for too much too soon. So, be aware of that. And you have to kind of build up that clout before you can get there, or you have to have that. The relationship has to develop a little bit more before you get to that point, before you will start to feel comfortable saying, would you mind helping me? And then it will be less transactional once you've built the foundation on the relationship.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I also think some people believe that it's a weakness to ask for help or they're not going to look qualified or competent if they ask somebody for help. They believe they should have all the answers already, so they're not going to, ask for help necessarily. And so I do think that asking for help is something like a skill. It's something that you have to develop. You have to figure out the right timing based on what you said, the relationship, where's the relationship at, but also the right way to ask and understanding that it's okay to ask for help too. I mean, as entrepreneurs, you can't possibly know everything about everything, right? So you've got to know when there are areas that you need to either ask for help or you need to hire help. And so it really is sort of an evolution of figuring out the relationship, the timing, the task, all those things. It's a complicated thing.
Well, and I will say this, not to throw my husband under the bus, but he's got a lot of balls in the air that he's constantly juggling. And so he doesn't really enjoy, it doesn't fill his cup to when we've moved many times. And I would say, let's ask these friends or those friends. And he's like, no, I don't want to ask anybody for help because I don't want to have to help them in return. So also know the personality of the person that you are asking, because it just might not be something in their wheelhouse. It's nothing against you. It's not even really anything against them. I mean, Sean is a very generous man and he will give ideas or he'll barter or other things to support your business. But he doesn't really want to jump in and hands-on necessarily, right? Because like I said, he just has a lot of balls in the air and he doesn't feel like he has time to give to that. So I think it's also careful.
Moving is a tough ask, okay? Because I'm with Sean on that. Nobody wants to move more than they have to move. I think when you're younger, you used to offer to help friends move. But then as you get older, you're like, No, because I don't want to have to help anybody else move because moving sucks.
No, you like stop talking to him for that week because you're like, I don't want them to bring it up.
Right. Totally. I get Sean on this one. Moving is awful. That's funny.
So when you're thinking about the relationship, have you spoken recently? Is there trust already there? Does the size of the request match how well you know each other? Or if you're asking to be moving, I guess the takeaway is here, we don't ask others to help us move.
Exactly. Asking for help isn't the problem. The problem is when the request ignores the relationship and creates pressure or expects someone to give more than is reasonable, like asking them to help you move. That's more than reasonable. No, I'm just kidding. A thoughtful request
to anybody ever.
Ever. Unless you're under 30, okay? A thoughtful request,
and even then,
though, can give the other person a clear choice, right? The way you phrase it, the way you ask it, the status of the relationship, it gives the person a choice.
I think that brings up the point that you brought up in our previous episode, which was, I think there was a project or something, and it was like, give them an out. I think that's really wise. Give them an out when you're making the request, so they feel comfortable if it's not something that they want to do or not in their wheelhouse, they don't have time, whatever the reason may be, they can decline.
Yeah. I mean, you might ask a new contact for a quick recommendation or a suggestion, but asking them for hours of advice or to review a massive document or something or any major introduction to somebody may be too much too soon. And that's what we want to avoid.
Right. And you know what? If you haven't spoken in a while, it's okay. Just acknowledge it. You don't need to create weeks of fake conversation just so you can bring up this ask that you have. You could say, it's been a while since we've connected. I hope things have been going well. I'm reaching out because I value your perspective on something. I mean, that feels honest without treating the person like a resource. You're not just saying, I needed this to be done and you came to mind. Like, oh, great. Thanks.
Right.
Like,
right.
Do you don't care how my dog's doing or based on the relationship, just consider those things because vague requests create extra work. Saying like, I need help growing my business leaves the other person thinking like, what does she actually need? So instead, you could say, like, you've built several community partnerships. Would you have 10 minutes to share what you look for before choosing an organization to work with? I mean, that way it's, focused, it's reasonable. It has clear definitions, like 10 minutes, what the person would be reviewing and why you value their opinion. I think those are all good reasons that you would be reaching out to them. I recently made a commitment with somebody and I don't know them very well. It's kind of like a one-to-one. And I was like, how much time would I expect for this? And the person did not tell me. So I'm going into it blind and I don't know how much time I should expect. I'm very excited about that. Also, I want to know so that if I can commit to it or not.
Right. For sure. Yes. Specific doesn't mean demanding. So you're simply helping the person understand what support would be useful. Right? So a good request answers sort of 3 questions. What are you working on? Why are you asking this person? And what exactly do you need? That is what a good request should answer. A respectful request always gives the other person a genuine choice, too. We talked about this. Avoid creating pressure, any kind of guilt or unnecessary urgency, Don't imply like they're your only option or like it's going to be personal if for some reason
a bone dog. I don't have anybody else.
Right. And don't make it like if they can't help, it's going to feel personal in any sort of way. Respect their time, respect their boundaries. We've said this in a previous episode. If you're comfortable making the introduction, I'd really appreciate it. But I completely understand if the connection or timing isn't right. You gave them an out, right? You gave them a way to say nicely that now is not the right time, or they don't feel like they can make this kind of introduction for you successfully or whatever. And that's the important thing, is to kind of give them an out, give them a choice. Don't make them feel pressured.
I do this all the time with my podcast guests. So I thank them for being on the show. I give them links to the show. And then I write a quick little blurb. And it says, if you feel comfortable, would you share on social media with a caption something like this? I was on Memories of the Beat. We talked about this song. It made me remember blah, blah, blah. And then I always say, or something like that. Please feel free to tweak it, as what feels natural for you. And if not, I completely understand. And I just leave it at that. Like, I've given you all the stuff. I've given you the caption. If you feel comfortable copy pasting, great. And if not, it is what it is. I've made my ask. I also have a policy in life, just ask. And the worst thing that somebody can say is no. So just be prepared. If they do come back with a no, it's probably not about you. It's more about their life, what they've got going on, their circumstances. Try not to take it personally and just move on. And hopefully you can think of someone else that can help you with that. Because when you do give somebody permission to say no, you don't weaken your request. It just builds trust. At the end of the day, how you handle the no shows whether you value the relationship beyond what the person can do for you. If you're butthurt, you're probably like a taker. You were expecting something, you wanted them to say yes, and it didn't work out. And
Right?
if you truly value their friendship, you're understanding they couldn't make it happen this time. So when someone helps you out, close that loop. We talked about this last time too. Thank them for following through and let them know what happened, what the outcome was of that request that you made.
I think that's super important because it's kind of like when somebody gives you a referral, let them know
that's
that
exactly
you
what came to my
made
mind.
contact. Yeah. And what the result of that contact was. Like, yes, we're moving forward, or no, now isn't the right time. They're thinking in 6 months or whatever. But it's just like following up after a referral.
I completely agree with that. Make sure it's done within a timely manner. Complete any of the steps that you agreed to. If it was like, after you do this, then I'll post that you helped me out or whatever it was, make sure you do that. And then update them after the introduction, just like you're saying, Donna. And appreciate the effort. Even if the outcome wasn't what you hoped for, let them know you really appreciated them saying yes. You could say, thank you again for connecting us. We had a great conversation yesterday, and I really do appreciate you making the introductions. I know that you had said that when you got that real estate client that was so great for you, and you said thank you. And then the people you said thank you to were like, oh my gosh, that's never happened.
Right? I know.
Shock and surprise them.
Right.
Oh, surprise and delight. That's what it is. Surprise and delight them.
Yes, not shock and
Mhm.
delight. Surprise. And gratitude really shouldn't depend on whether the request leads to a sale or a referral or an opportunity, right? The gratitude should only depend on the action that they took. So the person still gave their time, knowledge, or credibility to help you. Recognizing that really strengthens the relationship and makes people more comfortable supporting you in the future.
I think this brings to mind for me when a couple of our members from Bond and Beyond had an event. You and I attended it and, of course, thank them for letting us be there. But then while we were there, I had a great idea saying, hey, let's have the girls on the podcast. And so we can really spotlight the event that they put together, all their effort and everything like that. I think it was a great way to spotlight the event, thank them for what they did for us during the event. And then we said, okay, now after this, we're going to record an episode with you guys and then we'll promote it. And we did that. And I think that that was respecting them, their relationship, all the collaborations that went on within that event. And I think that's a little bit more of an elaborate example. But nonetheless, I mean, everybody did what they said they were going to do in that. Those ladies got together, they collaborated, they did their event, we attended, we said, we'd love to spotlight you on the podcast. We did that, and then we promoted it. Do what you say you're going to do, and then thank them for being on the podcast. I mean, that was really amazing that they took time to be with us. And so just a full circle moment there.
Yeah. I think that it's easy to thank people when you receive a referral because it generally leads to business, right?
Sure.
But, asking somebody to make an introduction and having that person take the time to connect you with somebody else, I think that sometimes gets overlooked because if that connection doesn't result in business, you kind of don't really acknowledge the actual effort the person might have made to introduce you because it didn't result in something, right? And I think that sometimes people forget to thank the original person for introducing you in the first place because even though it didn't lead to business now, who knows, right? And this is kind of the whole theme of networking. Who knows? Because that person that you just met now might not be the time, but 6 months or a year down the road might be. Or maybe they know somebody and they think of you when they meet that person because you just connected with them. And so there's a lot of trickle down effects in networking, and the smallest action can lead to great results. And so we're just saying, like,
Absolutely.
acknowledge the effort that people make for you in your business. It could be something as simple as, like, we have a bunch of free guides for the Link Up Lounge, right? So if we were asking somebody, hey, do you mind sharing one of our free guides? And they did, that's something that you want to acknowledge. Same thing,
Yes.
I think, in a lot of businesses these days, where I have free guides for real estate. And if somebody shared one of my free guides with a friend, I'd be so excited. Whether or not they ever do business with me, I'd be like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I'm so excited that you shared something of mine. That just helps grow your business in ways that you cannot measure. And I think that's something we come back to over and over and over again, where people want to try and monetize and measure the ROI on networking. And that is not something that you can do in a finite period of time, because you never know
Right.
when that connection is going to pay you.
Well, I think when we're asking people things, it takes time, right? And time is one of those hot commodities that, it's kind of priceless. We don't have a lot of it, and we all are trying to use it as wisely as possible right now. And I think that also keep in mind that everywhere you're going, everything you're doing, in all of your actions, you're leaving a trail of impressions. So if you have business with somebody and the outcome isn't what you were expecting, but you're still gracious about it, you're leaving an impression. Like we said, a little bit of trust and a little bit of, I would be like, okay, cool. Like they're cool that the person didn't end up selling a home with them, but, still threw their name in the hat and gave the recognition. And, I think that speaks loudly as well. So every time we're doing something, or when we follow through, or any of those kind of things, we're just constantly leaving that breadcrumb trail of hopefully positive impressions. Okay. Now, one thing that I do want to address is the title is right, asking for help without feeling like a user. I think that if somebody came to me, actually, I've had it happen. I had somebody come to me and ask me if I would work. I've actually had it happen a couple times. Sorry, it's just dawning on me. Where people have come to me and asked me, can you clean up this audio for me? A friend of mine. I was happy to do it. I didn't charge them anything, like no big deal. But I didn't feel like they were using me. I felt like a huge compliment. Like, first of all, I came to your mind, and two of them were pretty big deals, quite honestly. And I thought, you want me to do that for you? Like, it's going to go out into the universe and represent you, and you're cool with that? Like, okay, game on. Yeah, I want to do that. Like, I was pumped to be part of it. So you never know when you're asking somebody, it may actually be a huge compliment to that person that you thought to reach out to them. You're not using them. You actually value them and see them as a huge asset in your life. And so you're like, hey, I know you're the person for the job.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of like, I go back to free guides, but, when I create a new free guide, like I created one for mortgages.
Yay.
And I sent it to 2 or 3 different mortgage people that I knew and said, do you mind looking this over and giving me your opinion on if this is valuable and if this is accurate? Because it's their wheelhouse and I want to know what they think of it, And 2 of the 3 did it for me, looked it over and gave me feedback. One of them never responded. And what's funny is that was surprising, number one. But number two, I probably wouldn't ask them again to review something or give feedback or anything. But mainly it's not because they said no, it's because they didn't respond at all. If they would have said, I'm sorry, I'm slammed right now, I've got too much going on, I wouldn't be able to do it in a timely manner. No worries. We all have those moments. But the fact that they didn't respond at all made me kind of file that in the back of my head.
So that makes me think of 2 things. First of all, that person left a breadcrumb trail of maybe a negative impression. So again, like I said, you're always leaving these little baby impressions left and right. And the person who gave feedback, like, let's say something was incorrect on the document that you had created, and they came back and said, actually, you're almost there. It's this, that, and the other. They tell you how it is really supposed to be worded or whatever. That person just got to display their expertise and again, leave a small impression of like, oh, okay, so that person actually really knows what they're talking about. And like how nice that they didn't just gloss over it and go, yeah, good enough. Like they took the time to actually give accurate feedback to me. A, I got to learn, and B, I get to put myself out in the world with this freebie looking that much more educated. You know, you learned something that day. That's invaluable.
Right. Yeah. I think that when you feel like a user asking somebody for help, maybe you might be. That's kind of how I feel.
Sure. It's like when we talked about feeling salesy and slimy.
Yeah.
Like if you go into networking feeling salesy and slimy, it's probably because you behave in a way that is salesy and slimy.
Right? So like if you're asking for help and
So
you feel
if
like
you think you're a user,
yeah. Maybe it's because you don't have the right relationship, or maybe it's because you didn't give them an out, or maybe it's because you're asking too much. You know, so think about, if you're feeling that way, maybe do a quick check. Like what is the status of what I'm asking?
It's making me think of Jeff Foxworthy. You may be a user if.
Right? Jeff Foxworthy. That takes us back. Oh my goodness.
Well, we've been networking for a hot minute. We've been in business. We've been around.
Right?
All right. So hopefully if you ask yourself, I might be a user if, I hope every single one of them are incorrect for you.
So yes, if asking for help feels uncomfortable, remember that networking isn't about proving you can do everything alone either. That's not what we're talking about. But strong relationships create room for people to support one another. And that's a lot of what you can get out of a great networking group too. Yeah.
Just make sure that when you're reaching out to whoever asking for a favor, that you're focusing on three things. You're being really clear about what you need. You're being considerate of that person's time and the relationship that you have with them, and then give them a real choice. So when you do that, asking for help will not make you come off as a user. It will make you a thoughtful member of their network. Okay, this week's networking mode on tip. Think of one request you've been avoiding. Explain why you're reaching out. Make one specific ask. Give the person room to say no. Then thank them for considering it. No long apology. You don't have to put the pressure on. And I guarantee you will not come off feeling like a user. Networking mode on.
Think about the support that would help you move forward right now. Maybe it's advice, feedback, an introduction, or a recommendation. Then send us a quick text using the link in the show notes and tell us what ask you're finally ready to make. Let's keep building those powerful links together.
You've been hanging out in the Link Up Lounge, your lounge for turning one link into endless opportunities.
Now it's your turn. Go make a powerful link today.
Networking mode on.